Welcome back to my garage. I've built two engines and I'm claiming both to be the most powerful ever. As contradictory as it may seem. It's time to back up these claims. Get some numbers, get some proof. I'm building a new dyno. I've already got one, but it's an inertia dyno and there's transmission loss and wheel slip and all that stuff. Here one will be a load cell dyno, engine dyno. Stick around and I'll explain later in this video. To work. We all miss this guy, and I thought maybe a little bit of this old Alex could ease your pain. Here's the driven pulley for that dyno primary. The retarder I'll be using for a load, it packs quite a bit of inertia. It would be nice if the engine being tested would be able to idle at least. We need a clutch. I've come up with three options. First one, wouldn't really let the engine idle. One-way bearings. Would be fail-safe. If the engine ceases, the retarder won't keep driving or try driving the engine around and causing more destruction. I think that could cause some erratic readings for the load cell, with it just being loaded one way. Second option, one of these motorcycle clutches. Operated manually, would need a lot of stuff to work. Option number 3. I think this is what I'm going for. A simple scooter clutch. Centrifugal. Don't you just hate when people are spying on you? Well, luckily you can do something about this. This video is sponsored by NordVPN. NordVPN lets you browse safely. No one's spying on you. Be it Soviet spies, elite hacker kids, the government, your service provider, or all of them. A secure, encrypted tunnel for you to travel in. No one can see through that tunnel and steal your data. It's easy, just a one-click connection. 5,000 plus servers in 60 countries. You can choose whatever country you want to circumvent regional restrictions on TV, streaming, games, all that stuff. Bam! I'm in Austria now. No bandwidth throttling because your ISP can't see what you're doing, and neither can anyone else for that matter. NordVPN offers blazing speeds. They're the fastest VPN provider out there, which means you won't notice any difference, but you'll be safe. They have a no-log policy and diskless servers, which means there's no data stored, and thereby no data to give out. That's a nice thing if your government is of the particularly bad and corrupt kind. I'm looking at you, America. Go to nordvpn.com/2strokestuffing to get a 2-year plan plus 1 additional month with a huge discount. Try NordVPN risk-free thanks to their money-back guarantee. That rhymes. Thank you, NordVPN. Machined out and pressed in 2 bearings, and machined this mating surface with a register for the clutch, and drilled and tapped some holes. Couldn't make those holes too deep because they would interfere with the bearing, so that's why I had to cut down some bolts here. Clutch bell has this a million spline thing. Haven't got the necessary tools to make a spline like that. I think I'll just machine down the shaft and weld this to the shaft. Primary is done. Now if you're new here and haven't watched the other videos on this dyno, the engine sits in a cradle and it's free to swing around the crank axis, restrained by a load cell. For the load I will use this truck retarder magnetic brake. This will load the engine, and as the load cell sits on that cradle and registers torque directly on the engine, we can pretty much take transmission loss out of the equation. We're measuring horsepower directly at the crank. Next up is a chain secondary drive from the primary to the retarder. Finish the frame. It's not actually meant to be sitting on these chairs. And the electronics. This sweet controller from yourdyno.com. Thanks for watching. See you next time.